invite Mr. Carson to speak first, and I would just like to ask this opening question. Given that 80 to 90% of food security in our country comes through federal programs such as the school lunch program, the WIC program, and the food stamp program, what role do you feel our United States government should play in eliminating hunger both here and internationally? Thank you.
Well, first let me start off by thanking Brother Rabbi Adlin for allowing us to have this wonderful program here. I want to thank Dr. Galloway, Brother and Dr. Kenton Lard, Bread for the World, its leadership, and all of you for being here. Personally, I have been on the front lines, and our team has been on the front lines of this effort for years now. I personally think that there should be a White House or cabinet level hunger and poverty czar in our administration, where we have one place that will be the focal point to distribute not only monies locally but internationally. We already do a great job in the United States with food aid. But I think we could do a greater job with developing nations in terms of providing monetary aid to different countries. With that, though, there has to be a criteria, and we must have demands for our efforts. There are many great organizations in this country who are doing phenomenal jobs. We have many Christian and church organizations. We have many not-for-profits who are out who take the lead on this effort. But I want to see a greater effort pushed. You know, we see so much money going to dictatorships across the globe, but we don't see a focused effort in places like Haiti. I had the great opportunity several months ago to visit Haiti, and along with other members of Congress, and we had the opportunity to sit down with President Preval about Haiti. And when you look at Haiti, Haiti is a disaster. We're all over the world, but we haven't even focused on the Western Hemisphere and our neighbors in Haiti. They don't have any topsoil. Forget about an ecological system. But Haiti is in need. I think the U.S. can help, especially with the Department of Defense. I think when we talk about Haiti, the Department of Defense is key. It's probably the answer in most cases with Haiti. We've had 9 bridges collapse in the past few months. The Department of Defense has the capabilities. They have the capabilities. They have the collapsible bridges that could be very beneficial to a place like Haiti. But personally, many of these nations that we deal with, going internationally first, many of these nations have a great deal of debt. I think we need to start with debt forgiveness. And I also think that we can assist many of the NGOs with grants for microfinancing. We've seen the great work of Muhammad Yunus, Nobel Prize winning Muhammad Yunus, leading the effort and being a pioneer in microfinancing. But I think we can really help with microfinancing. Also, I think we need to reform our trade deals. Personally, I was against NAFTA. I'm against the Colombia Free Trade Initiative because I don't see the kind of parity that is necessary in these kinds of deals. We see big agribusinesses benefiting greatly, but we don't see small individual farmers benefiting the same way the big companies are benefiting. So I think in terms of our presence and what we can do, we need a poverty and hunger czar at the cabinet level in the White House who can deal directly with these issues. We created other agencies in the wake of 9/11 and other things, but we need a food and poverty czar. As a young man, I spent some time with my mom in a shelter. I'm acutely aware of the issue of homelessness and hunger. In the United States, there are many organizations that are beneficial. I supported the Farm Bill when I first got to Congress, and there were some great things in the Farm Bill. There were some things that benefited big business, and there are some sensitivities there, and I agree. But on the other end of that spectrum, there were some great things that provided assistance with poor relief, assistance with food stamps, assistance that will help poor people and those who are in need to get some kind of benefit. I think our country has a serious issue with poverty. It's one thing to see us across the globe as a global leader, and we are a global leader, but we have many issues here at home. We have issues that cross racial, religious, and social boxes or go outside of those boxes. We have serious issues as it relates to poverty. Even in a place like Indianapolis. I was with the gentleman last week, and he mentioned that the numbers, 3,000 plus homeless residents or homeless citizens in our city, has been reduced to half of that number. But still, we have great issues with poverty in Indiana, in Indianapolis. I think the United States can start by getting out of Iraq. We've already spent over $1 trillion in Iraq. Get that money back into our U.S. Treasury so we can direct our efforts here and abroad. For me, I think some time ago, President Bush declared that the United States engaged in a global war on terror. And in making his declaration, he announced to our international neighbors that they were either with us or against us in this fight. He indicated that there was no in-between. This is the kind of imperialistic language that we heard many years ago that has been toned down. I and others most certainly agree that our country is currently engaged in a global war against terror, but I think that the line between who our enemies are and who our friends are has become much thinner than the president has allowed us to believe. While we do have extremes in terms of who are our allies and who are our enemies, there's also a huge gray area. And that gray area consists of those who are caught in the middle. A large group in the international community that remains apathetic to our causes and our ideals. That's who's in the gray area. It's what I like to call the large and apathetic middle ground. That currently exists in the international community, and it hasn't helped post 9/11, and it hasn't helped with the stances that this administration has taken against other nations. Most often, those who make up this middle ground consist of poor and developing countries. These poor and developing countries whose loyalties could be easily earned through our goodwill and our diplomacy. Because at the end of the day, it is our goodwill that would allow us to gain favor with others. Mandated ultimatums will not work, friends, nor will a tyrannical diplomacy that forcibly tells people that they are either with us or against us. That is why having a strong foreign aid network is critically important, because a large and growing sector of our global community is made up of countries whose people live in extreme poverty. An extreme poverty that leaves many of them malnourished. An extreme poverty that incites illiteracy. And an extreme poverty that invokes depression and despair. Such hearts and minds can only be won over by a helping hand and not an iron fist. And that's why I have made fighting global hunger a strong part of our legislative agenda.